Hi, Dr. Brett, Advanced Pain Centers and APC Weight Loss. And I had a request to talk about what we can do for my arthritic joints, or how can I help my swollen and painful joints. And there are a few different types of arthritis, and this is going to work for all of them. Chronic rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, all of them, it's going to help. So I'm going to break this up into two separate topics and how to help. One is physical, one is dietary. So before we get into the solution on what we can do, it's important especially to talk about the weight-bearing joints. They can absorb a lot of stress. And each step, in fact, puts about 1.5 times our body weight on our weight-bearing joints, like our hips and our knees and our ankles. So you can imagine the more weight we have, the more pressure is going to be multiplied and added onto these joints. If we're going upstairs, it's 2 to 3 times. If we're squatting, it can be up to 5 times our body weight are going onto our knees. So it becomes quite important on understanding how we can take care of these properly. Now, let's start with the physical. Physically, how can we take care of it? Well, pretty obvious. If we decrease our body weight and decrease the amount of stress on our joints, that's a good way to go in order to decrease the amount of inflammation and swelling. So how can we do that? Well, a good amount of exercise is important, but I'm going to suggest that we do it in the water. Now, that could mean that we're just walking in the water, swimming, of course, but that takes a lot of the gravity off and takes a lot of the pressure off our joints. So in the water is a good idea. Walking is generally going to be safe for most of us. Really just need to get out there and be active. So at least do something, even maybe a little bit of resistance training with some light weights. Maybe your doctor can advise you on specifics on that, but there are definitely things to do, but not just stay at home and do nothing. Now, the more weight we have, like the obese and vastly overweight, have 4 to 5 times more likely to get arthritis. So again, get out there, do something physically, and decrease that weight, and it's going to help our joints tremendously. And next, we're going to talk about what we can do dietarily, and this is, I think, the more important aspect of it. When it comes to decreasing the amount of stress and pressure on our joints, especially the weight-bearing joints, decreasing the amount of calories we take in is a good idea. But what kind of calories? So I'm going to suggest that the low carbohydrate and low sugar is the best way to decrease the calories. Why? Carbohydrates and sugar they're inflammatory foods. So this is something that creates a systemic inflammation in the body. And so we're not even aware of it because it's all part of our diet all the time, but people are shocked on how much better they feel, even in their joints, when they reduce their sugar and carbohydrates. So that's one. We want to stay hydrated. Of course, this includes decreasing smoking, alcohol. These are things that dehydrate you. But lots and lots of water will really help flush those joints. Decrease omega-6s, increase omega-3 fatty acids. Why is that important? Omega-6s are inflammatory fats. These are usually the very cheap oils, like the cooking oils in the fast food centers. Palm oil, corn, safflower, sunflower oils. These are inflammatory oils, and we normally are not getting a good balance. We want a balance between omega-6s and omega-3s. We're usually way over the top on those omega-6s. So we want to increase our omega-3s generally. And this is eating more fish oil, olive oil, olives, even some certain nuts like walnuts, for example, avocados. This is very high in omega-3, and most of us are deficient. So that will change the inflammatory response of the body. Another powerful one is fasting. So intermittent fasting, especially 24 to 48 hours, is going to significantly increase what's called autophagy. So autophagy is where the body starts to clean up all these damaged and dead cells, and it encourages an increase in new cells. And we're going to have a lot of damaged cells in our joints if they're inflamed and if we have chronic arthritis. It's really good for the joints. Another thing it does is it creates an increase in growth hormone. Now, if we have a lot of growth hormone, this is good for increasing muscle mass, which is always good for our weight loss. But it's also something that helps with the growth hormone decreases what's called C-reactive protein. This is a protein that comes in excess with inflammation. So all these things are going to decrease that systemic, body-wide inflammation, which is going to benefit the joints tremendously. Hopefully this was helpful on how you can take care of those arthritic joints. There's also certain supplements, but we'll get into that in another video. Thanks for watching.